Good. Good evening. Welcome to the March 9th, 2021 meeting of the Pequannock Township Council. Ms. Marsh?
In accordance with the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice, which was filed in the office of the Township Clerk, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, published as a legal notice in the Suburban Trends newspaper, and distributed to all persons requesting notice in accordance with Township policy. Information on remote access to the meeting was posted on the bulletin board, front door, and accessible entrance of the municipal building and on the Township's website.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer and a moment of thanks for individuals serving our nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious Providence, we ask that you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that every deliberation will result in actions which will promote the common good and the general welfare for all the people of Pequannock Township. Amen.
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 The clerk will please call the roll.
Mrs. Florence Lynch,
I'm here.
Mr. Hurd,
Here.
Mr. Cole,
Here.
Mr. Phelan,
I'm here.
Mayor Russell.
Here. For anyone who hasn't participated in one of our remote meetings, I'm going to ask Mr. Brewer to review the format of the meeting. Mr. Brewer?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. As you're aware, because you've logged into the meeting is being held virtually via Zoom. There are various points throughout the meeting where public comment is welcomed and called for. Those are identified on the agenda or at any other time that the mayor and council choose to open it for public comment. Should you wish to participate, please raise your hand and you will be recognized and allowed to participate. Thank you.
Thank you. There are no presentations scheduled for this evening. At this time, if there are reports or comments from any of the volunteers serving our community, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized.
Mayor, there are no hands raised.
The next item on the agenda is public comments. This public comment period will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. An additional period for public comment is reserved for later in the meeting. Individuals are requested to limit their questions and comments to 3 minutes. If anyone wishes to address the council, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized and provide your name and address for the record.
Mayor, we have a hand raised. We have some hands raised. Mr. Shamber.
Hello.
Hi, Randy.
Hi, how is everybody?
Good, how are you?
Very good, thank you very much. I just wanted to update you on our progress since the last time I addressed the council, and again, thank you for the time this evening. We took your direction, and when I say we, I mean the members of Propel took your direction from the last meeting in which we wanted to form a social equity council that would include many members of our community, as well as support from the town council to address, issues of marginalized people in our community and beyond. So I'm happy to report that we've put together that council. It's not a final roster, but we have a very good start. And we're looking to have our inaugural meeting on Monday, April 5th at 8 p.m., more than likely be a Zoom meeting. And I'd like to announce the people that are on this Social Equity Council. I am going to be serving as the director. At the mayor's recommendation, we did get a faith leader to be part of our group, and that will be David Sipple from First Reformed Church. For research within our group, Sharon Ramallah, Master of Science Medical Technology. She is also the Vice President of Propel Pequannock. For social worker, we have Kelly Jackson. She is a MSW student, Sacred Heart University. She's also an intern at Chilton Medical Hospital. We have a representative from Pequannock Township High School, Rain Osmansky. For legal advice, we have a retired attorney named Michael Gottsman, and we are working with William Patterson University as well to find a representative from William Patterson University as a student over there. So we've really moved along here. We've got a lot of people that are wanting to be involved. There are a lot more people behind the scenes here that felt they couldn't really dedicate themselves to a position on this Social Equity Council, but they want to attend meetings and have input, and we welcome anyone. So we thank you very much for recommending that this should be the steps that we take to address these kinds of issues. And we would like to also see what it takes for a township council liaison to attend the meetings and report on them, just like you do with the other groups. If you could kind of explain how that would work.
I believe when we report on our groups, those are groups within the Township Council. You are certainly welcome to come here and report on it every time, just like you did. I think it's great, all the work you did. Adam, I don't know if you want to add anything.
I think it's interesting. The reports from volunteers section of the municipal agenda is unique in my experience to the Township of Pequannock. So, unless the council or anyone feels differently, it'd be a great opportunity there to provide a report on behalf of this group or any others. There was a different set of volunteers who were providing reports early on in my tenure from different groups, and that's when they did it.
Okay, so that's when I would report, or someone from the Social Equity Council would report on all of our progress and projects that we're working on within the community. You would like us to report on that during the volunteer section of the town council meeting. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And I would welcome and invite town council member to join us in our meetings. So I'd be happy to follow up with that at a future date. Of course, we're going to have our inaugural meeting on April 5th, as I had stated. And we're going to see where this goes and see what we can do to really help every member of our community feel welcome within our community. And we're also looking forward to, on Thursday evening, there is a meeting with the high school and with the education community about equity education within our school district. I do know that I will be there, and there's going to be 9 members of the Propel group that will be part of that out of 18 that have been invited. So I'm looking forward to that, to seeing from an education standpoint how this mission can also be enacted. I don't know if anyone else is on that list. I didn't see anybody from the town council on that list, but I'm really looking forward to being part of that.
That's great, Randy. Thank you. Thank you for all you've done for this.
You're welcome. Thank you for your direction.
Thanks.
We have another hand up, Mr. Flynn from Jersey Central Power and Light, our government affairs representative.
Good evening, everybody. Long time no see.
Hey, Bob.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. My address, just for record, is 30 Elm Street, Morristown, New Jersey. I just wanted to pop in, just give a brief update. It's been a while actually since I've seen you guys, but I've added on some new towns out in Warren County, so I've been trying to introduce myself to them since Stan Prater, if you're familiar with him, has taken on a new role with Jersey Central. So I'm just getting back to my towns right now in the virtual setting, but just some quick updates. We did finish our Reliability Plus program over the past few months. That was the $97 million investment into increased vegetation management, as well as improved resiliency and installation of new equipment out in the field. So that had just finished over the past few months. So we're thankfully, we didn't have to talk much during these past winter storms, which was good. I think we really kind of dodged a bullet with some light snow and some non-heavy winds. And, we saw, I think, some the benefits of that vegetation management. So I'm happy to report back on that. And then one other big note I wanted to mention, and it's kind of my talking point through these council meetings that I'm attending, is that JCP&L, the way it historically worked before was there was a safety trailer that was owned by First Energy that was shared between the operating companies. And now I'm happy to report JCP&L has requested and obtained our own safety trailer, which we will be, as we get it in state here over the next few months. Due to COVID, there's a little bit of a slowdown, but as we get it in state, we're going to be reaching out to municipalities and scheduling some hopefully in-person demonstrations where we'll bring our crews out. We will hook the safety trailer up by generator and essentially perform a live wire demonstration about some of the safety hazards that our first responders may encounter out in the field and how to appropriately and safely respond to those. So as we get into those, we'll be going to our counties and each of our municipalities. I'm happy to work with the police and fire and any of the other emergency responders in Pequannock, but I thought it's a significant update and a significant safety update from our company that I wanted to relay. So other than that, that's all I really have. I hope everyone's been doing well and staying safe.
That's great. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Always nice to talk to you when the power's on.
Agreed. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're our best friend when we all have electricity.
These are good days where it's 61 to do council meetings. I can't complain. Thank you, though, for having me.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Mayor, there are no other hands raised.
Ms. Marsh, have any written comments been submitted?
There are none.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is the manager's report. Mr. Brewer?
Good evening, everybody. A few quick things within my written report, too, and then one to add at the end. This evening for the council's consideration is an ordinance to address public urination, defecation, and nudity. Got some interesting questions from some folks on staff when they saw this. So just to kind of put a framework around it, there is a memo behind it from Detective Halligan of the police department. Essentially, there's a gap area in enforcement, and the ability to write a summons to deal with an individual who may be urinating in public or who may be, nude in public in a way that someone finds offensive. The statute that they would be able to use is 2C, a lewdness statute, which has a number of components that sometimes are more challenging to prove, and it's a criminal act. Oftentimes, if you have a major construction project, sometimes we'll get complaints from residents about someone urinating behind a tree in a front yard because they can't get off the job. And the police department would like to be able to address the complaints that come in without necessarily a criminal complaint, because it may not meet the necessary statutory criteria to be charged with that. So following a review by police administration, as well as Mr. Oostdijk and me in some meetings, the legislation was crafted and is recommended for the council's consideration. We have a developer's agreement for Circle Avenue. Previously, there was discussion associated with allowing a resident to use the paper street or right-of-way to construct a driveway. When that was considered, there was conversation about a approval from about 15 years ago for a subdivision on the southerly portion of the paper street that is known as Circle Avenue. Well, after all that was discussed, the parties to each of the newly created lots got together, and they are now proposing to construct the road as was required in the first subdivision from about 15 years ago. So the developer's agreement that controls that has been executed by those parties. It's at their request and is scheduled for the council's consideration, authorizing via resolution. And lastly, not on my report, I had a conversation with Chief Commune earlier today. And with the weather getting a little bit better, I don't know what our future is in terms of meeting in person versus over Zoom and looking at the squares on the computer. But perhaps if the council is amenable, in May, we could do an outdoor promotional swearing in and celebration. We've had a number of promotions, a number of new officers. And if we get back in person, great. But maybe if not, maybe a 6 o'clocker. If it meets everybody's schedules, that May, I believe it's May 11th is the first meeting in May. We can obviously, weather permitting, but again, we have promotions that go back to December, so it'd be nice to bring everybody together. And seeing the fun that was outside today, it was just so nice to see people getting together and celebrating a good cause and acknowledging it can be done safely.
So are we talking about in the parking lot of the municipal building?
I don't know if we want to do the parking lot. I don't know if we want to do the basketball court, the field, the weather permitting. I mean, we can explore that. If the council's okay with it, we can work on finalizing the details. But I wanted to take everyone's temperature first.
Absolutely.
I think it's great. I'm in.
Yep, I'm in.
Okay.
I think we
Very
also
good.
need to discuss going back to meetings in person. So
I think
agree
we
with
need
that
to
too.
discuss that too.
yeah, I think we need to start doing that.
All right. So I'll based on what I'm hearing, I'll schedule for discussion the 23rd of March, the public meeting, the meeting format, and I'll work on the details associated with the promotional stuff for May 11th.
Great.
Excellent. Thank you all. That is my report, unless there are any questions.
Sounds good. Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
No.
There are no public hearings scheduled for this evening. Next on the agenda is the introduction of ordinances. Ms. Marsh?
The council's consideration this evening is ordinance number 2021-04, an ordinance to amend chapter 123 of the Code of the Township of Pequannock and prohibit public urination and defecation and public nudity.
Mr. Brewer, any comments?
Again, this is just a tool to provide flexibility for the police department in addressing concerns that have come in.
Are there any comments from council?
No.
It's sad that we have to do something like this.
It sure is.
Yep.
Mr.
So
Wilson,
just
should
to
I-
clarify,
Should I abstain?
No need.
No need to?
No need to abstain, Dave. This is just because we have a recommendation from the police doesn't create a conflict.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No.
Is there a motion to introduce this ordinance on first reading?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance 2021-04.
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Mrs. Florence Lynch,
Yes.
Mr. Hurd,
yes.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Phelan,
Yes.
Mayor Russell.
Yes.
Motion passes.
The next agenda item is resolutions. Ms. Marsh?
Beginning with Resolution R 2021-81, confirming the designated membership in the Pequannock Township Fire Department. That's from Mr. Carapresso. R 2021-82, authorizing a temporary emergency appropriation for operating purposes. 2021-83, authorizing the use of 3-year average revenues for the 2021 municipal budget. 2021-84, authorizing cancellation of outstanding checks. 2021-85, authorizing an expenditure from the Pequannock Township Open Space Recreation Farmland and Historic Preservation Trust Fund. 2021-86, authorizing an application to the Morris County Community Development Block Grant Program. 2021-87, authorizing submission of an application to the Morris County Historic Preservation Trust Fund Program and approving matching funds in the amount of $5,980 for a preservation plan for the Pompton Plains train station. 2021-88, authorizing submission of an application to the Morris County Historic Preservation Trust Fund Program and approving matching funds in the amount of $80,491 for a construction grant for the Martin Berry House rehabilitation. 2021-89, authorizing the Municipal Alliance grant application for the fiscal year 2021. R 2021-90, authorizing the execution of a developers agreement between the Township of Pequannock and SEM Home Builders LLC and Francis Semeraro. 2021-91, authorizing tax office refunds, overpayments, or cancellations. And R 2021-92, approving payment of the itemized claims as set forth on the March 4th, 2021 bill list.
Are there any comments on the resolutions from council?
Just quick point of clarification. Adam, R 2021-88, that's not in addition to the Martin Berry House. That's just part of the original contract, right?
No, this is phase 3 rehabilitation that includes the stabilization of the chimney, the roof, and the gutters.
Okay. It's just a payout to them based on the contract.
No, this is a new application for a new grant.
Oh, okay. Got it.
This is another, 75, 25 or 80, 20. I didn't do the math on it. The match is 80,491. The total grant amount, the total project amount is 402,000.
Got it.
So this is
Okay.
the next phase in the stabilization of the structure.
Thank you.
All I can say is I'm getting old because I had Joe Carapressa as a second grade Pee Wee football player. So
He's a great kid.
And
Congratulations to Joe.
Yeah.
What a great kid he is.
absolutely.
Anything else?
Nope.
Is there a motion to adopt these resolutions?
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution R 2021-81 through R 2021-92.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Mrs. Florence Lynch,
Yes.
Mr. Hurd,
Yes.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Phelan,
Yes.
Mayor Russell.
Yes. There are no items listed for discussion, nor are there reports or notices. The next item on our agenda is council reports and announcements. Councilwoman Florence Lynch?
Just real quick, a couple of things. The Economic Development Advisory Committee, they met. They've been working diligently on their business inventory list and updating that. And I know the chair had met with Adam on a couple of things. So more to come on that. Let's see what else. And then you probably saw the Pequannock Coalition group, they met, and there was a lot of, and then there was a separate meeting, I know, with the town manager, because I know the funding for the preventionists from the county is going away. So there was some lively conversation with a couple of members from the Alliance and the Coalition, and the prevention is key, and they're going to try to come back with some, recommendations or things that they're going to work on moving forward once the funding is gone, which goes away in October, because I know there's been a lot of work the coalition has done, as well as the Alliance and everything else, and they just want to make sure that they keep moving forward with their mission. So, and making sure it doesn't fall through the wayside. So we'll hear more on that going forward. I think there was some good direction and recommendations that came from everyone and from the town manager. Let's see, the flood committee, they have not met. They did not meet last month, but they will be meeting March 11th. And I know the chair has been sending out reports on, the forecast and whatnot. People are always watching those gauges and reports. I mean, the Wanacue Reservoir still had, quite a bit of storage room in it. So we were a little nervous as the snow started to melt. But so far, knock on wood, things have been pretty calm there. So we think we're okay. Let's see. And the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee, they met the night we had our last budget meeting. I did get on the call late after the budget meeting. There wasn't anything new to report there really, except that, of course, we talked about the food truck Tuesdays, and being that today was the first day that they had that, it was a great success. And I went by there because I had to go into town hall for something, and there was a lot of people out there, and it was a beautiful day. So that was great. Other than that, I think we could have used more trucks though. I think they had 3 trucks and hundreds of people. But other than that, I don't have anything new.
Thank you. Councilman Hurd?
Thank you, Mayor. First, Cub Scout Pack 144. We were going to do the cleanup with the mayor's cleanup. We do it every year. Unfortunately, mayor's cleanup has been postponed because there's still a little bit of snow on the ground and it's kind of wet and muddy. So we're hopefully we won't move that too far into the future. It's a great way for the pack to get out there and, really give back and help the town. So,
Ryan, that's actually been postponed to October 23rd.
October 23rd. We finally have a date for it. Excellent. Thank you, Mayor. Open space. We had our meeting last night. You know, we're really still concerned about the rail trail and making sure that after it's, while it's being done, if we can have them do access to Aquatic Park and Riverwalk off of the rail trail just to make it easier. So I know, Adam, we spoke about that. We spoke about it at the open space meeting. I know that you're on it. So, you know, when the point comes, if we could just keep a little pressure, hopefully we can get that access. It'll just make it a little cleaner and easier for everybody on the trail. And the trail is still in progress. It will be here eventually, someday, I promise. Lastly, the squad, first aid squad. So did you know that this is their 70th anniversary of providing emergency medical care to the community? 70 years, Pequannock First Aid Squad. Congratulations, guys. Hopefully you're going to be here for another 70 plus years. I don't know about Tom Lyons, but hey, if you feel like sticking around for another 70 years, we would love to have you. You're doing a great job, as well as everybody on the squad. During the month of February, the squad responded to 56 calls. The fund drive is still underway. We still need some money. Donation requests have been mailed out to all the residents. Let's see. We'd like to welcome Ricky Greff. I know you spoke about him before, Dave. He's the newest member, and he's going to be joining the Friday night crew. And then speaking of crew, we still need more members. We're always in need of members. So if you feel like giving back and you'd like to be in the healthcare industry, we would love to have you. So free training and uniforms. I mean, come on. Who wants to give that one up? Free training, free uniforms provided. Membership information is posted on the squad's website at pequannock.ems.org. That's pequannock.ems.org. Other than that, thank you, everybody. That's all I have.
Brian, I think they get a free pager too.
Free pager. I'm in. Where do I sign? Hey, I sign at pequannock.ems.org.
Awesome. Councilman Cole.
Thank you, Mayor, and congratulations to Ricky Greff. Not only did I have Ricky as a Pee Wee football player, I had his older brother as a Pee Wee football player. So Company One met, Fire Company One met last Friday night. Just some highlights. Chief Bell has been working with the township clerk on updating some of the township ordinances, as well as to update the fire department annex for OEM mutual aid documents needed to be submitted for the Morris County. Just to highlight something that was brought up on the ordinance said that firemen had to appear or report to the fire in rain boots and a rain jacket. So it's quite.
That's a little old.
Yeah, it's a little old. So that's being updated with Carol. So Chris is doing a great job on that. They had 20 calls last month and 2 drills. Company number 2 will meet this Thursday night. And I think that's all I have. Planning board did not meet this past the first Monday in the month. I think they're going to be meeting the 3rd Monday, maybe, of this month. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Awesome. Thank you. Councilman Phelan?
None of my committees met, so I really have nothing tonight.
Okay. Thank you. First off for me, congrats Ricky and Greff and Joe Carapresso, 2 great, I want to say kids, I guess they're almost men now, right? Wow. Like I said, the mayor's cleanup has been rescheduled. On a phone call with other mayors with Morris County regarding the COVID vaccines. Morris County is number 2 in the state, getting about 30% of our residents vaccinated. Pequannock is actually at about 33% as of last week. About 4,000 Pequannock residents had been vaccinated, so that's great. New Jersey just got they got 70,000 doses of the J&J, which doesn't have to be super cold, and it's only 1 shot. Internal discussions are going out about what to do about homebound seniors or any people who are homebound. So if we hear anything. Next, I want to give a congrats to Patrolman Ken Hunt on his retirement. And I'd also, lastly, I don't know if anybody read it, but Chief Commune wrote something on the Pequannock police officer's Facebook page. I'd just like to read it to everybody because I think it's kind of important. He wrote, on February 21st, 2021, Governor Murphy signed into law legislation that decriminalizes, regulates, and legalizes marijuana. Under this law, you can legally possess 6 ounces or less of marijuana if you are age 21 and older. What I find concerning as a parent and police chief is the mechanism by which police officers will be required to handle underage possession of alcohol and marijuana where it concerns minors. If your child is found to be in possession of marijuana or alcohol under the law, police officers will issue a warning to your son or daughter. Police officers are not to contact the parents on the first warning. Only after issuing a second warning or having subsequent contacts are we to advise the parents. As there is no present method of tracking warnings across jurisdictions and counties, there is the potential your son or daughter would receive multiple first warnings. I find the restrictions on parental notification counterproductive. My experience is that the best outcomes with juveniles are those in which the parents or guardians are involved. Further, I believe the law infringes upon the rights of the parents in caring for their children. If you feel similarly, I encourage you to contact your representatives and make your feelings known on this portion of the new law and how it impacts your ability to parent and keep your kids safe. Sincerely, Chief Commune. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. And that's all I have. Next on the agenda.
Mayor, I'm sorry. I tend to agree with him 100%.
I do
Yeah.
too. And I believe Senator Bramnick introduced a bill yesterday that is going to repeal the youth part of that bill.
Well, that would be great. You know, if it affects our kids, we need to look into this.
Yeah, and no offense, if I could say something for a minute. As a father of 3 young boys, I'm involved in my kids, and God forbid something happens and they're caught with drugs or alcohol, I expect to be the first one to know. So I do expect to be called. I'd like to know. I want to know what's going on with my kids.
Yeah, I think we all agree. Next on the agenda is public comment. If anyone wishes to address the council, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized and provide your name and address for the record.
Mayor, there are no hands raised.
Next on the agenda is minutes for approval, February 23rd, 2021, regular meeting. Are there any comments on these minutes?
Nope.
Is there a motion to approve these minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next on the agenda is a closed session discussion. Mr. Oostdijk, will you please explain the procedure for holding the closed session?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. This is the portion of our meeting when the council meets in executive session to discuss confidential matters, which they are not able to discuss at a public open session. When we meet in person, we ask the public to please leave the meeting room, and then we reconvene to have our executive session. During our virtual meetings, we ask the public to log off, or our township manager logs the public off. And at that time, we have our executive session virtually as well, and we continue. When we adjourn our executive session, we do briefly go back into public session simply to adjourn our meeting. And tonight, we do not anticipate that there will be any official action, which will take place at the conclusion of our meeting. Thank you, Mayor. Thank
you. Is there a motion to approve resolution R 2020-93, authorizing the Township Council to meet in executive session to discuss potential litigation of Carbone versus Township of Pequannock, matters of attorney-client privilege, property acquisition, and the sale of public property at 90 Village Road?
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Is there a
second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No action will be taken following the closed session. At this time, the public portion of the meeting is recessed for the closed session.
Carol, I'm ready when you are.
Good. We are back in public session. Mr. Oostdike?
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight in executive session, the council had several matters to discuss. One was a matter of potential litigation, attorney-client privilege. It involves a claim for payment of work from a Mr. Carbone. The council was updated by the township manager and township attorney regarding the claim and was given direction in terms of continuing discussions on that claim. There were also 3 property-related matters discussed in executive session. One was a request for the township to provide a easement to address a driveway in a public right-of-way, and direction was given, and the township will be moving forward with public action on that at a future date. A second was to grant a easement for a fence in a public right-of-way, and the council determined that that was not consistent with our policy and did not authorize us to proceed with that matter. And finally, the matter of a public bid on property acquisition, and a decision to be made as to whether or not to accept that bid, and a decision was made to move that forward to a council open session action, which will be to award the bid in the future. And that concludes our executive session, except Mr. Brewer.
There was also discussion over potential property acquisition, and the manager.
That's true. And the manager was given direction not to pursue that. Correct. Thank you.
There was a lot.
Awesome. That was a lot.
That was a lot.
There being no further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned at 8:03 p.m.
Good night, everyone.
Thank
Bye, everybody.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, all. Thank you.